Aloha and welcome to Java. Yesterday was quite a wild day in the markets, and I've got quite a bit I'd like to go over with you. So, with that, let's get started. So, this is for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. We're going to start with our risk indicator because it shot up yesterday, and we are now just below extreme levels. So, up at 297 on the MMRI. So, the very first thing we're looking at is the relative strength of the dollar, the DXY, above the 105 level that the market hates. Also, the 10-year yield shot up in a spike above the 4.5 level that the market also does not like. So we're looking for hopefully a retracement of these today. We want a little more leveling off of the market. Otherwise, this could continue. So with this happening yesterday, it took the fear greed index down now solidly into the neutral territory, and we'll see how today goes. So with today, we are expecting PPI, the producer price index, and this will give us more inflationary view on what the Fed may do. So we've still got bank earnings on Friday, and keep in mind whether these would be affected by this 10-year yield spike and if it continues. So if we look at the stocks, had red across the board with the Dow shouldering the bulk of the drop. The volatility index, or VIX, is up along with gold now above $2,300. So for a lot of people that don't like gold, this might change your view. We've got oil was relatively flat, but we've got the futures saying that's also in difficult territory at the moment. So with this, we're looking calendar, and basically we're getting jobless claims in the PPI prior to market open. So what we'll be watching is the 30-year bond auction. This will affect the view on yields. So the bond sale for the 10-year did not go so well. And now we conveniently have this spike in the bond yields right prior to the 30-year auction. That entices buyers, and hopefully their auction will go better. We're keeping a view on the ECB, European Central Bank. They're expected to hold off because they're making their decision on rate cuts as well. So we'll hear from them. The other thing that hit the markets yesterday was the Iranian threat to strike on Israel. And they also had mentioned that if the United States would back them up, they would also become a viable target. So a little more on this and why it's happening in a bit. For right now, I wanted to bring something up. If you're a new trader or if you weren't trading at least through the pandemic drop, I want to bring something up to you. It means you've never traded in a down market. And 90% of trading is psychological. So if you go to your charts and you're looking at your charts and you have a difficult time looking at this, so you don't know, pardon me, I'm in my other account, my personal account. So if you have a hard time looking at this and you can't either see your levels or another issue, whatever that might be. Let's say, for instance, you want to draw your Fibonacci's or any kind of levels. I'm doing this one because it's super easy. So let's just say you have your levels, but you can't read them very well, or your chart patterns are a bit of an issue for you. Just invert them. So all decent trading platforms have this. Just look up how to do it for yours. This happens to be TradingView. And then you'll see some of your chart patterns emerging, your support and resistance lines. And it's kind of like it's not magic, but this can help. What would you do, if this was the market in reverse? So hopefully that helps you out a bit. So going back to what we've got here, banks and central banks, bond traders, preparing for a 5% yield, no rate cut world. Well, as we saw the yield spike, basically they're playing on this. I do think that there's going to be probably higher for longer. There's a lot of factors going into this. So as I said, we're watching ECB. And we've got, as this rate cut issue happens, then we've got these major hedge funds and investor portfolios. They have to readjust for this, because if they're not getting the returns that they had on elsewhere, they have to reduce holdings in one side. So you're going to see a shift, and that's what we call the big money. So we've got Barclays reducing Fed cut view. to 1 in 2024. We'll see. The Swiss are calling for a change to unrealistic bank liquidity rules. So Swiss banks still having an issue. And I bring this up because more banks are going to have to fail, not just in the United States, but basically in Europe as well. We've still got the yen we've got to keep an eye on because they could still have intervention. Japan having real issues between their economy, wages, and the strength of their currency, because we are in a currency war. So with that, what we are watching, Apple. So they've started their business out of India, and they had a major attack across 92 countries. This is not very positive for the stock. So we'll keep an eye on that if you're trading Apple. Or Ford. Ford had a recall come out. So both of those expected to have a little pressure today, more than normal. So one thing I wanted to bring up, retail trading, I think will be coming to an end relatively soon here because advancements in artificial intelligence. If you get emotional in your trading, you're going to lose out. Basically, scared money, like I said, 90% of trading is basically psychological. And if you let your emotions mess with that, then you're going to have a very difficult time. So, a couple other stories. Soaring insurance costs. They hit as U.S. buyers finally get a break on car prices. Well, insurance is hitting across the board. We've spoken about this, not just housing, vehicles, but also businesses. And so businesses are beginning to feel this hit as well. We've also got default rates on mortgages and credit cards. We've been talking about this. Expected to rise in the months ahead. Well, they're finally beginning to catch on to this. So under housing and real estate, mortgage rates jumping over 7%. All of this inflation that they're talking about, that's going to slow housing sales. We've got the VA introducing a new last resort loan program. Again, the government stepping in. But at least this is for veterans, and they were government workers because basically military. They've got this loan program going on to help them save their homes because many of them have already defaulted on their loans and they can't get out any other way because the inflation now, the loans are larger than what the home is worth as the prices retrace. So we've got this crazy story that shows the direction this is going to take, saying they couldn't pay their $370,000 mortgage. So they applied for a loan modification for a 52-year loan. And they're asking if this is normal. Well, the answer is no, but it's becoming normal. So United States was the only one for a long time that had a 30-year mortgage product. And many other countries, they will have to refinance or do something with their loans a shorter period of time. So now that we're going to 52-year loans for your house and multiple year loans for vehicles, 10-year loans, it's getting ridiculous, just making the poor poor. So with all this, Rocket CEO, this Rocket Mortgages, saying the housing market will remain stagnant because rates surging basically make it unaffordable for people that have to get a mortgage. And the statistics for cash buyers is crazy, but those are running out. So energy and commodities. Now put Bitcoin in here because I think it will have a good move to these. So basically talking about coming into the halving is what it's called. Basically for the mining, they are predicting $150,000 top. We'll see. I'm not willing to put a price top on it. I think there's quite a bit more to it. Other experts saying you won't see 600%, so be cautious on that. But I think that we've got unsustainable deficit inflation, meaning more demand for Bitcoin coming from Grayscale. So there is also an ETF for Bitcoin coming out of all places in China. That could create demand as well. And we've got basically United States always behind everything on legislation dealing with this. but they've got a bill in the works for passage now. So they're talking about, over to energy, that electric utilities are looking for the power demand of data centers. This artificial intelligence, moving forward, there will be demand for energy. So how it's supplied is really the only thing that will keep the numbers down. And watch our inflation for this, because as this moves forward, oil is only going to get more expensive, and as it does, that increases inflation across the board. So United States and Japan announcing a partnership for nuclear fusion. So nuclear energy is one of the easier, more cost-efficient ones. And as we say, oil is not going down anytime soon. So what happened in the war front? Well, Russia is calling Biden like a horseman of the apocalypse. Medvedev says this. And the reason is because still supporting Israel as ironclad, they're going to supply defense missiles more to Ukraine. So basically feeding the war machine. We know that's how they work, keeps the US GDP up, and good for business. War is big business. So we had another issue, and you'll see this today. Another aid convoy was hit by Israeli gunfire. So with this, we're just going to see more of this. So what happened yesterday when they were saying that an Iranian strike on Israel will be imminent? Basically, what happened was that there were two generals of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Quds, were killed in the airstrike. Not only this, but 3 sons and 4 grandchildren of Hamas leader. So they're not going to let this one go. And as I said yesterday, we are now out of basically Holy Holiday, and we have basically Passover coming up on the 22nd. Couple of lava updates. Vietnam sentenced real estate tycoon to death over fraud. So basically, large case of fraud, they gave her the death penalty. And I just want to bring this up. If this happened in the United States over insider trading of some of our Congress people, I think they wouldn't be doing it anymore. So jumping over to also Vietnam, working on a BRICS membership bid. So they're one of the up-and-coming production countries. So this is going to be interesting. We've also got Turkey is launching a trade war on Israel. They're a NATO member. So this is getting interesting in the heat up. So with this one's gone on long. There's quite a bit in it. I wish you a green trading day if you are. Otherwise, just a wonderful day in general. Thank you kindly for joining me. Please give it a thumbs up if you would. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.